for joining us today for our first ever Facebook Live. We are here at the flamingo nesting area. We're bringing the zoo to you, showing you how we're so close to the public, but we're still caring for all of the animals here. My name is Jennifer. I'm one of the relief keepers here at Sacramento. And this is Jason, primary bird keeper. You might be wondering, what is he doing with his shovel? So we are actually working on creating the nest mounds for our flamingos. We're getting into the breeding season, and we like to give them a little bit of a head start with some mounds that they can choose. Then the flamingos themselves will come over and choose and work on them. You can see Jason's working on these ones over here. We also have one over there that's a little bit more concave. You might be able to see that one. So that's one that a flamingo has already been working on. So they will bring up all of the mud and work on it themselves. They like to be really close to each other. So not only does that increase the safety in numbers part, but also increases bickering with neighbors and fighting over nest mounds. That's why they're going to be kind of close together. That's what they would normally do. We have one of our youngest flamingos actually closest to us right now. That is Tom Collins. He was our chick from last year, hatched out in July. So you can see a lot of the questions we usually get is, why does that flamingo look different than the others? So you can see he's mostly pink now, but a lot of the times when he came out here, he was mostly gray and just starting to get that pink. So for anybody who doesn't know, when flamingos are first hatched, they are actually a gray color, grayish white, and they don't get that pink for fully up to about 2 to 3 years. It takes a while, it builds up, because flamingos get their color from the food that they eat. So out in the wild, what that's going to entail is small crustaceans and algae. They're getting carotenoids. It's a big word just for red coloring. They're going to get that. So if we didn't feed them any food with any pink or red dye, then they would actually still be that white or gray color. But thankfully here we do give them a chow. So kind of like a dog chow that you feed your dog, we have one that's specially formulated just for flamingos. So it has that red dye in there. It also has everything that they need for their nutrition and helps them become that beautiful pink color. Now, I don't know if we have anybody joining us with questions, but we are open to answering those questions for you guys today. See how you're joining us. And anybody at home that's wondering about the care of these animals, we really do appreciate all of your support and for you guys tuning in and paying attention to the animals. And if you feel so inclined, we really could use your help as a nonprofit. We do have our emergency relief fund. You can find that on our website, saczoo.org, and you can go ahead and donate to that. That really helps us out to have some money to help care for these animals. Over 500 animals here at the zoo that we do still feed every single day. We have people taking care of them, like myself and Jason. See, what other good questions do we usually get about flamingos?
Amanda is wondering why the pelicans don't turn pink if they eat the same kind of food.
That's a very good question. He does not eat the same food. So our pelican Zamboni over there, he actually gets restaurant quality fish. We give him at least 3 different varieties of fish. So he gets herring, lake smelt, anchovy, and capelin. So he will actually come over to a station and we'll give him his fish that he will choose whether to eat or not. We'll usually do a nice feeding when you guys are here to visit and you can see it. So you've probably seen him be very picky with his fish. So, oh, we actually have Jason over here. He's going to show you guys what our pelican eats.
Oh, very cool.
Here at Sacramento Zoo, Mr. Zamboni, our male pelican over there, actually,
He might eat.
he looks like he wants to show you guys exactly what and how he eats. So let's go on over here and see what happens.
Do you want to take this a little closer?
Jennifer, if you wouldn't mind kind of describing what I do and why
Yeah,
I
of
do.
course.
Zamboni, station. Zamboni, station.
So Jason's asking Zamboni to come over to his station to get some food. That's totally up to Zamboni if he wants to come over. He did seem like he might be interested in some food. But if he chooses not to participate, that's totally fine, and we'll actually come out later and offer him some food. But he's also giving you a very good profile right now. So you can see Zamboni is actually missing one wing. So unfortunately, he was found by Fish and Wildlife out in Montana, and he was tangled up in fishing wire. What that meant was that one of his wings had to be amputated, and he wouldn't have been able to survive out in the wild on his own. White pelicans are a flock bird. They'll hang out together in freshwater areas and work together to catch fish, so he wouldn't have been able to keep up with his flock. But he's been here, and as I said, he gets that nice restaurant quality fish, and he can choose whether to eat it or not. There's Jason showing some herring. And there he goes. So you see he puts both feet on that station, and then he gets a fish. And he didn't like that fish.
He's being rather picky this morning, isn't he?
And I know we do have some people just joining us. We got a question from a 6-year-old who's asking, what do the flamingos eat? So here at the Sacramento Zoo, we give them a pellet or chow form of diet. It's got their red dye, the carotenoid that they would normally get in the wild, that turns them pink. We also serve it in water so that they can filter feed. Flamingos do filter feed. They will eat small crustaceans and algae, filtering it from the water.
I believe we had a question about whether or not flamingos fly. Jennifer, could you elaborate?
Yes, flamingos do fly. They are actually quite pronounced in their profile when they're in flight. You can find some really great pictures of that if you're interested in Googling. But our flamingos here, they do not fly. And we do that just to make sure that they're safe and they stay in here. They're also, this is home. This is where they're gonna stay. They get all of the things that they need. They have all of the food that they need and all of the resources, so they don't really feel much desire to leave. I'm gonna hand it back to you, Paige. Let's see if we have any other questions. I think I did see a question about how long it takes for a flamingo egg to hatch. I believe that's about 28 days.
Their incubation period is 37
Oh,
to
37, that was
41
off.
days.
If you hold it, the microphone picks it up better. Gotcha. Oh, we do have a really good question, Jason. Whoa. We have from Penny, age 6, wonders why flamingos stand on one leg.
Why do they stand on one leg? Because it helps keep them, basically it helps keep them warm. They can keep that leg tucked in. A lot of times, if you'll notice, we tend to shift our weight to one leg or the other. It's a more comfortable position for us. And there's a lot of different theories behind it. But it's just pretty cool to stand on one leg.
Very good. Then we have another question from Zoe, age 7, who asks if they need to go south during the winter.
Do they need to go south during winter? They're actually found down the warmer regions. So these guys, you'll find them on the tip of Florida, but their habitat is down in South America. So they live in a warmer climate. So for them, they're lucky. They don't have to migrate like a lot of other species need to do to go from that colder weather to the warmer weather. So they kind of luck out.
And we've gotten a couple of questions. Jaden, who's 7, and Lily, who is 8, who are asking us why flamingos are pink.
Why they're pink? Because we ran out of green spray paint. Just kidding, guys. It's actually because of what they eat. So they'll get that pink color pigment from the foods that they're found. So they'll eat algae, they eat shrimp, but not the kind of shrimp that we like to eat. It's actually brine shrimp, so it's a microorganism. So what you see is they'll do how they eat. They don't use a spoon or a fork. They basically will stomp their feet around in that soil. You'll see them doing that. Well, when they come back up, you'll see them doing that. So what that's doing is it's causing the soil, disturbing the soil. So then they'll go back and forth, and you'll see them kind of taking water in and pushing water back out. So we call that filter feeding. So the purpose behind that is they're pushing all that gross stuff out, and they're getting all that good microorganisms, and that really helps enhance that pink pigment in their feathers. So a nice, good, healthy flamingo that has a well-balanced diet will have that brighter pigment. They will look much more pink. And as you can tell here at the Sacramento Zoo, we only feed our animals the best.
All right, so we got another really good question from Cade, 6 years old.
what is that band on their leg and why do they have it?
That is a great question. And by the way, thank you guys all for tuning in right now. These are the best questions that we've gotten in a long time. We're actually really getting lonely here. We miss you guys. The animals miss you. We need you guys. We need your support. The bands. So, as you can tell, all the flamingos look very similar. Some are taller, some are smaller. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a boy or a girl. That's just who they are as an individual. So the band is our identification to who that particular bird is. So if you see band number 2, for example, band number 2, he was born in, believe it or not, 1960. He is 60 years old. Not 50 like I thought earlier, but 60. So, if he had an injury or we saw him or her, I should say, lay an egg, we could go, okay, it's number 33. And we have all the animals are all on a sheet. We have their birth dates, their history, their numbers. So we can go into that information and find out exactly what we need to know about that particular bird. So that's why those bands really come in handy for us.
All right, so we have one question that are flamingos friendly from Elise, age 3, but also wondering if she can get a birthday shout out. She's gonna be 4 years old tomorrow.
You're gonna be 4 years old? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. What was the first question? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Are they friendly?
They can be somewhat friendly. We have a few. In 2017, we had 5 chicks that we actually hand raised ourselves. Those guys are a little friendlier because as far as they knew for the time being, we were mom and dad. The 2018, we had 1 chick. She's pretty friendly with us. But as they grow older, they tend to go with the flock. Birds of a feather will stick together. They'll still come up a little more than the ones that are not hand raised, but they're really not that friendly. They like to have their space and let us have ours. Before we started this, all the flamingos were in their breeding area. As soon as we came in, they're a little nervous. So they like to just have they're a prime example of social distancing. Here you go, folks.
So we have a question from Jocelyn, who's 10. If they eat other foods, like broccoli, will they turn green?
That is an awesome question. Thank you for that question, by the way. No, they wouldn't, because honestly, these guys have no interest in fruits or veggies. I know, bad example out there, kids, but it's just not part of their normal diet. So if they were happen to eat it, it's the way their body breaks all that nutrition down and metabolizes it, so they would not be green. But that would be pretty interesting, wouldn't it?
Okay, so then we have Blake, who is 10, wants to know what's their lifespan.
As I said earlier, if you guys are just turning in, we have one of our flamingos, the oldest one we have in our collection. And by the way, we have 48 flamingos here. So our oldest one, he has a band number 2. If you guys, in the near future, when you guys come out to visit us, look for number 2. He is born in 1960. Yeah, 1960. So that makes him 60 years old, which is pretty old for flamingos. They'll live 60, 65, but he's a grandpa out here. We give him special love and care.
All right, so now we have one question about the pelican, Zamboni. Okay. So Sawyer, who is 5, asks, why do pelicans prefer certain fish over others?
They'll eat a wide variety of fish. They tend to eat smaller fish because the smaller fish tend to stay in more schools. And by school, I mean they gather together in bigger numbers. So the way that pelicans in the wild will actually fish is they'll work together. So they'll come together and they'll kind of swim around and they'll get all those fish into a gathering, and then they'll go down with those big bills and they'll scoop up all those fish. And by working together, they ensure that they all can eat as opposed to trying to do it by ourselves. Sometimes it's definitely a little better with the help of a friend.
All right, let's see. Abe, who is 7 years old, wants to know, how many kinds of flamingos are there?
There is actually 6 different kinds of flamingos.
All right. And the species that we have a question. Lily, who is 11, wonders if flamingos are endangered.
Are they endangered? No, not at this time. Their numbers aren't too bad, but
we can always be watching out for them.
exactly. Took the words right out of my mouth.
I try, Jason. So we have another comment. Do the flamingos get tired from standing on one leg all the time?
Yeah, they do get tired, but they actually sleep and enjoy it, as you can tell. And actually, I don't know if you mentioned, if you guys just tuned in, if you look right there, the one closest to us, that's actually our chick from last year. His name is Tom Collins. He hatched out July 17th. And as you can tell, he's a little duller in pink coloration than some of the adult ones you'll see, but he's definitely getting those adult plumage feathers.
All right, so now we have another question from Maximus, who is 4. Why don't the flamingos lay eggs every year?
There's a lot of different theories to that. We don't know the exact answer. That is a really good question, but what we have found through our studies and time and efforts is it really depends on the weather. The weather plays a great deal in a lot of these animals breeding, laying eggs. The more of a wet season is more of what they like, because that helps them build their nests. And if you guys are just tuning in, we started by talking about these mounds here. A lot of folks ask us, what are these mounds for, and what are you guys doing out here? That is actually their nest. So what we do here is we provide the water for them, because they need that water to keep that soil nice and maneuverable, because they'll use that soil and they'll build those mounds up about double the size of what you see now. We started those mounds for them, but then they'll pick out whatever mound they like. So we'll have a pair and they'll decide, I like this mound, this is mine, all you guys stay off my mounds. And then they'll protect those mounds and they'll build those mounds up, and we'll loosen the soil, keep the soil loose for them, so they'll use their bills and they'll build that mound up so it's getting bigger and bigger. Bigger the mound, the easier you can see out, to ensure when you have an egg and a chick, you can see any harmful things that may be coming your way. So they'll make the mounds fairly high. There'll be a divot in there, a little concave, and they'll lay one single egg. It's about that big, which is amazing. You see those guys, they come out of an egg about that size. So they'll lay their one single egg in that concave, and by having that concave in there, they're able to get those down feathers around their egg, and that'll keep it nice and warm. It has to be at a high temperature so that little chick in there can develop and then pop out to be a cool flamingo.
Yeah, you already answered one of the questions, which was how many babies do they have at a time. We've got a couple of comments asking about their vocalizations, why are they so noisy, and why do they make that noise?
That is just kind of how they vocalize. They're kind of loud. Unfortunately, I don't speak flamingo. I've been trying to study it. It's really hard. But we don't really know exactly why they make that particular vocalization. But it can get very loud, can it?
Aaliyah, age 9, is asking, what is a flamingo's predator?
They can have a lot of different predators. I'll let Jennifer take over this one. Actually, what we're gonna do, guys, real quick, we'll get right back to that question, but we're gonna go ahead and Jennifer and I are gonna step out of this area, and then the flamingos, as you can tell, they're starting to wanna come back and look into the breeding area. Anytime we do a little work out of here, they get pretty excited, so they'll all come back. So we're gonna go ahead and step out. We'll get right back to that question for you. We don't forget about you, and hopefully the flamingos will come up for us. All right, let's see what happens here. All right, well, they're not too excited. They're kind of out here enjoying this beautiful day right now. And I just want to thank you guys all once again for all your support, for tuning in, for caring about our animals. We love our animals so much here. And just being a nonprofit, it's, you know, we're in some hard times right now. So we do have a fund. If you guys would like to donate any little bit, really helps us. And your support really goes a long way with taking care of these animals alongside us. So we really thank you for that too. And did you mention on Wednesday, coming up this same week, this Wednesday, we're gonna actually have another one of these. So stay tuned for that. It will be at 11 o'clock on Wednesday. And that should be exciting too. I don't want to go into too many details, but it's gonna be a fun one, guys and ladies. Do we have any more questions? Oh, Jennifer was going to answer your question about the predator. Jennifer, would you answer that question?
Right, of course. So what are flamingos predators? So like we talked about, when they build these nest sites, they are actually pretty safe in those areas. Mostly what's going to happen, what's going to predate upon them are going to be larger birds, like eagles and things like that. They can see the chicks or the eggs and they'll predate upon that. Once a flamingo is a full adult size, there's not really a lot that's going to go after them. There are some things, depending on the area that they're in, larger animals like crocodiles could go for them. They do have a problem, obviously, with humans. We wouldn't call ourselves naturally predators of flamingos, but they can cause some harm to that. But a fully grown flamingo is actually pretty safe from predators. Do you have any other questions?
Let's see. How much per day do you feed the flamingos?
Oh man.
I would say, you know, each flamingo would eat about a cup to 2 cups of their kibble. We get that question a lot. What do they eat here at the Sacramento Zoo? And then we'll find a lot of their microorganisms and their brine shrimps actually out here in the soil itself and out in our water. They eat algae also. But what we have here is we have a pellet similar to a dog or a cat or basically a cereal for us that has all the nutritional value packed into that one little pellet. So that's what we get here. And we feed them that. So each flamingo would eat probably a cup or 2 of that a day.
Awesome. All right, guys, Facebook fans, if you have any last minute questions, please feel free to ask, and we will be wrapping up momentarily. All right, Jennifer and Jason, thank you guys so much for teaching us all about flamingos. And thank you so much, Sac Zoo fans, for checking out our first Facebook Live. Feel free to tune in Wednesday, 11 a.m. We'll be doing another one of these. And also feel free to go to our website to learn more about how you can donate to our emergency relief fund. Hope you guys are all staying safe and have a great day.
Bye.